May 20th, 2013. Residents of Moore, Oklahoma had heard tornado sirens 3 times in 2 days. At 2:40 p.m., meteorologists interrupted programming with live radar and a warning unlike any ever issued in Oklahoma, saying mass casualties were likely. Within minutes, a routine threat erupted into a real-life monster, leveling entire neighborhoods. Why did even the most urgent alert fail to save everyone? What really happened as the deadliest warnings met exhausted, uncertain families? Moore, Oklahoma sits at the heart of Tornado Alley, a stretch of the central United States shaped by decades of violent storms. For many here, the sound of tornado sirens is as familiar as the spring thunder. In 1999, an F5 tornado tore through the same city, killing 36 people and leaving entire blocks unrecognizable. 4 years later, another powerful tornado struck nearby, cementing a sense of constant threat. Over time, each new warning has carried the weight of those memories, but also a growing sense of exhaustion. By May 2013, the sirens had already blared twice in 2 days, each time the immediate danger passed just out of reach, leaving only anxious glances at the sky and the hum of daily life returning. This repeated cycle breeds what experts call warning fatigue. Residents learn to wait for confirmation, to scan the horizon themselves before heading to shelter. Sociological studies show that after enough false alarms, even people who have lived through past disasters begin to hesitate. For some, the third siren in 48 hours felt like another near miss in a long string of close calls. The urgency dulled, replaced by uncertainty. Families weighed the risk of another false alarm against the hassle of crowding into a closet or a neighbor's shelter. The legacy of 1999 and 2003 lingered in every decision, but so did a quiet skepticism. Could this time really be different? In Moore, history had taught residents to fear tornadoes, but recent experience had also taught them to question the alarm. That tension would shape every second that followed as the afternoon unfolded. At 2:40 p.m., meteorologist David Payne broke into live programming with a voice that cut through any lingering doubt. His radar screen showed a tightening hook echo just southwest of Newcastle, the classic signature of a tornado beginning to form. The WSR-88D radar system measured rotational velocities near 175 miles per hour at 10,000 feet, numbers rarely seen even in Tornado Alley. In the control room, the data was impossible to ignore. The National Weather Service issued a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning, a level of alert reserved for the most violent storms. The warning stated that mass casualties were likely. For the first time in Oklahoma, the official broadcast spelled out the potential for disaster before a tornado had even touched down. Payne's urgency was unmistakable as he pointed to the radar's deep reds and purples, urging viewers to take cover immediately. The warning system designed to save lives had reached its highest gear. Emergency managers and local officials received the same message. This storm was not like the others. The gap between forecast and reality was closing fast. As the alert went out, cell phones buzzed, sirens wailed, and the phrase, "particularly dangerous," echoed across radios and televisions. For those who heard it, the meaning was clear. This was no ordinary threat. The clock had started on a narrow window for action. That window would define the next 17 minutes and more. At 2:56 p.m., the tornado touched down near the county line between Oklahoma County and Canadian County. On the ground, it registered as EF1, with winds strong enough to uproot trees and peel roofs, but not yet the monster forecasted by radar. The initial path measured about 200 yards wide, less than 2 football fields across. For a brief moment, it seemed the storm might pass as another close call, like so many others before it. But within 5 minutes, the tornado began a transformation rarely witnessed, even in Tornado Alley. As it crossed into Cleveland County and moved toward Moore, the funnel ballooned outward. By 3:01 p.m., the path had expanded to 1.3 miles wide. The wind speeds surged past 210 miles per hour, levels that tear entire homes from their foundations. The rate of growth was staggering, from a narrow EF1 to a catastrophic EF5 in less time than it takes to boil a kettle. Sirens blared and cell phones buzzed, but the window for action was closing fast. The storm advanced at nearly 30 miles per hour, leaving residents with only minutes to react. Streets that had been quiet moments before now faced the approach of a churning wall of debris. The scale and speed of the tornado's expansion meant that by the time many people recognized the danger, the safest places in their homes were already under threat. In those first 5 minutes, the reality of the forecast collided with the limits of human response. The storm was no longer a warning on a screen. It was an unstoppable force barreling toward densely populated neighborhoods. At 3:14 p.m., the tornado reached Plaza Towers Elementary. Built in 1962 without a reinforced safe room, the school's walls and roof offered little resistance as EF5 winds tore through. 75 students and staff were trapped in collapsed hallways. 7 children died beneath the rubble. Third grader Kyle Davis was found shielding 2 classmates, his body providing the only barrier between them and the crushing debris. Less than a mile away, Briarwood Elementary faced the same storm. Teacher Jennifer Doan, trained as a storm spotter, recognized the threat on radar and moved her students into interior hallways early. When the tornado struck, Briarwood's reinforced design and prompt sheltering created survivable spaces. The building suffered EF4 level damage, walls crumbled, windows shattered, debris filled classrooms, but every child and adult survived. The contrast could not be sharper. At Plaza Towers, standard sheltering procedures led children into hallways with no overhead protection, a fatal flaw in a building never designed to withstand the force now bearing down. Briarwood's outcome hinged on a combination of human decision and structural strength. In the aftermath, rescuers pulled survivors from voids at Briarwood, while at Plaza Towers, parents and first responders faced the reality of lives lost in seconds. The fate of each school was decided by a few critical moments and the difference between a wall that held and a wall that fell. Moore Medical Center faced the tornado head-on as the storm reached peak intensity. Inside, staff raced to move ICU patients out of harm's way. Hospital corridors shook and ceilings cracked as winds tore at the building. Nurses and doctors guided gurneys through debris-filled hallways, improvising escape routes as parts of the structure gave way. Every second counted. Across town, Oklahoma Highway Patrol Trooper Betsy Randolph remained on live television, her voice steady as she directed drivers and urged evacuations. She stayed on the air until the tornado was less than 400 yards from the broadcast tower. At 3:42 p.m., first responders arrived at Plaza Towers Elementary. With roads blocked and heavy equipment out of reach, firefighters and police began hand-digging through collapsed walls, searching for survivors in pockets of air beneath the rubble. The fight for life continued, one rescue at a time. Forensic meteorologists studying the aftermath of the Moore tornado found evidence of sub-vortex winds reaching 210 to 220 miles per hour. Cars were tossed hundreds of yards, and entire homes vanished down to bare concrete slabs, with anchor bolts ripped free by forces that surpassed design limits. FEMA's post-event analysis revealed that 20 of the 24 fatalities occurred in homes built before 1990, homes that lacked reinforced safe rooms or even basic anchoring. In response, Oklahoma lawmakers passed Senate Bill 861 in 2014, requiring tornado safe rooms in all new schools and offering tax incentives for residential shelters. By 2020, Moore had over 6,200 registered safe rooms, more per capita than any city in the country. The science of destruction became the blueprint for survival, turning tragedy into new standards for protection. Today, Moore leads the nation in residential safe room installations, a response born from tragedy, not chance. But warning fatigue and vulnerable structures remain national risks. As storms grow stronger, survival depends on action, not just forecasts. The next warning always comes. What we do next determines who survives.